Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for tapping in. Today is going to be a banger. We're heading south, all the way down to Star Island in Miami, Florida, for the wild but true story of Brother Louv and the Zion Coptic Church. This is Moving Weight Podcast, and if you dig this one, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's ride. Picture Miami at sunrise. Star Island, big mansions, and calm water. Palms swaying like they got nothing to worry about. Back in the late 70s, one of those houses, number 43, definitely had folks talking. People say they heard chanting and a smell of sweet ganja floating over the bay. Cars rolling in and out at all hours of the night. Some said, this ain't just a house. That's a church. And a church used marijuana as a holy sacrament. They called themselves the Ethiopian Zion Coptic Church. Most people just said the Coptics. For them, weed wasn't a hobby. It was part of a worship. Like incense, like communion. To their crew, it brought you closer to God. To the neighbors, though, and the cops, it looked like a loophole the size of Biscayne Bay. The whole thing turned into a fight. Faith versus the Florida law. And it got loud. TV cameras, court battles, headlines everywhere. So, let's step through that gate at 43 Star Island and let's run it back. The Coptics, they started off connected to Jamaica, Bible-based. Old school and new school Christianity kind of mixed together. Plus, a big focus of taking care of your own. They believed ganja, weed, was holy. Not recreational, but holy. They prayed with it, read scriptures with it. Quiet time, smoke time, all mixed together. And in Miami Beach, that Star Island house, well, that house became their U.S. base. People came from all over. The congregation grew, and the smoke, well, it never really stopped. Even in court, the state basically said, okay, this is your real religion, and it's real to them. And weed is central to it. The argument wasn't about belief. It was about practice. Where can you do this? How? What if the kids are around? What if the whole neighborhood's breathing it in, and the mansion allowed the church to be under the city rules? The town of Miami, the town of Star Island, the island, Star Island, boy, they went crazy about this. Then TV showed up and poured gas on the fire. 60 Minutes. Man, they did a segment called Holy Smoke. Cameras all inside of the house. White robes and clouds of weed. Bible quotes, even kids in the frame. America watched and went, hold up, what? And front and center was a tall white dude calling himself Brother Louv, spelled L-O-U-V, pronounced like love. Government folks saw that, neighbors saw that, and the pressure, it cranked to 11. When the lawyer squared up, the judge basically said, yeah, this is a sincere religion, and weed's a part of it. But the state said public safety matters too. The neighbors, the traffic, secondhand smoke, right? Minors getting exposed to all that. Florida Supreme Court drew the line. They said, you can believe in what you want, but you can't turn that Star Island mansion into a full-time weed church in a residential zone. You want quiet family worship at home? Okay. But running an all day and all night temple of smoke where the public might get dragged into it? Nah, the court blocked it. And that was that. That was the line in the sand. Now we gotta talk about the part everybody remembers. But let's keep it high level. This is history, not instructions, right? Throughout the late 1970s, investigators tied people around the church to major marijuana loads. We're talking about tons. plural. Boats coming in from the islands, stuff getting grabbed up all across Florida. One case, they pulled a stash linked back to the church land. Another one, they stopped a big yacht and scooped up a mountain of bales. Early on, prosecutors had trouble locking specific leaders to specific loads. But as the cases stacked up and the agencies started to team up, more charges started to stick. By 1981, federal court had hit a bunch of church members with conspiracy and smuggling convictions. In 82, Brother Louv himself, government named Thomas Reilly, caught his own federal sentence and a fine. That Star Island era, yeah, that era was pretty much over. The weed church, chapter closed with handcuffs and court stamps. So if you grabbed a map of Florida and you zoomed way out, you start to notice something. Florida, well, this place is made for sneaking around. There's miles and miles of coastline, tight inlets, back bays, thousands of islands, and hell, it's a quick run up from the Caribbean. In the late 70s, Florida was a parade of record weed bust. Folks around here started calling floating bales square grouper. And yeah, Miami would later get famous for the cocaine wars, gun violence, the whole loud mess. The weed era, well, that was a different time. More barefoot and boatish, you know what I'm saying? Less bullets and bales. The Coptics were the strangest piece to that puzzle. Mixing scripture, sacrament, and smuggle accusations all into one headline. Let's talk about Brother Louv for a second. The man was a presence. Tall, dramatic, camera ready. On TV, he would quote the Bible like a preacher, then clap back at the government with a smile that said he was ready for war. Some people saw him as a true believer. Others said he was running a game. Either way, he became the face of the whole thing. When you put your face on a story like that, the system is going to aim at you, and it aims directly at your face, as it did. So, what's the lessons from Miami's weed church? Legally, the Star Island case, well, it became one of the bookmarks. Courts basically said, believe whatever you want. America's got room for that. But once your practice starts bumping into public safety, kids, traffic, zoning rules, and anything else they can claim, the state then can step in. That's how they split it. Faith is free. Practice has boundaries though, especially when your sacrament is on the controlled substance list. Culturally, the Coptics, man, they're part of how Miami turned into Miami. The myth version everybody knows, the city went from a vacation postcard to headline capital real quick. This was the bridge between the sleepy beach town and the wild story central. It's the chapter before the cocaine cowboys, when the outlaws' uniform was cutoffs and flip-flops, and the ammo was bales wrapped in plastic. If you drive past Star Island today, you won't see a bunch of white guys in robes chanting, smoke rolling out the windows. There's new owners now. New money, new drama. Florida's weed conversation moved from mansions and raids to votes and laws. But the old question still hangs over the air like humidity. What happens when someone says, this thing that the law bans, it's my religion? In 1979, Florida answered, not in that house, not like that. In 81 and 82, the feds answered with convictions. And decades later, the story still hits like Miami does. So let's do a quick recap before the end of the video. The Coptics, they set up on Star Island and called their weed sacrament. TV blew it way out of proportion. The neighborhood freaked out. The court said, yeah, religion is okay. Residential weed church, not so much. Meanwhile, law enforcement tied people around the church to big-time marijuana cases. Members got convicted. Brother Louv got sentenced. Chapter closed. But the argument they started, that argument's still around. Where does freedom in religion stop and the drug law begin? Every generation answers that in its own way. Back then, the answer was shut it down. All right, if you're into Florida outlaw stories told straight, no sugar, no step-by-step nonsense, hit that subscribe button. The next episode, we're running the Tamiami Trail, where the old fishing boats turned into the fastest delivery trucks in the swamp. I'll meet y'all out there.